Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like?
Everything against you. Lived in a homeless shelter. They got no money. Starting from the scratch, dude. So when I tell people, if I can do it, bro, anybody can do it.
Immigrating from Vietnam to owning a $100 million rental portfolio.
A professional real estate broker, entrepreneur.
The reason why I got where I'm at today, hungry. 100 contacts a day, every day, 100 contacts every day. I would not stop.
I know you're big on like personal development, mindset, law of attraction, manifestation.
Law of attraction to me, it's working in the background like gravity, even in your ignorance of it. Speak into existence. Speak it until you see it manifest. I don't say this story too often. I'm going to tell you the story. They're like, my name is blah, blah, blah. I work for FBI. We want to indict you. If you don't want to wait till I get out, you get the right to leave. I'm going to make peace with you right now.
Hey guys, welcome to this very special episode of the Passionate Few podcast. Today, I'm super excited because we're sitting down with none other than serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, philanthropist, and my good friend, Thach Nguyen.
What up, baby?
Thanks so much for being on the show today, Thach.
I'm glad to hear, man. It's been like 2 years that you and I put to get together.
Yes, sir. And I know I've known you for a long time because you blew up on social media in recent years.
Yeah.
I've seen you, I've seen Ben Baller, some huge names repost your stuff. And it's crazy looking back because I got to know you about 7-8 years ago when I first got started in real estate. And at the time you were talking about, positive cash flow, positive mindset. You had the manifestation. And I was like, this guy's either crazy or he's like a genius. So fast forward, it's crazy to see you've been able to not only build a multi-million-dollar empire, but also now inspire others to do the same and help them. Yeah, so super excited to dig in.
For sure.
And talk about your humble beginnings, man.
Let's get it, baby.
So let's talk about it. A lot of people either know you or don't know who you are. Can you give us a little bit of context as to your portfolio up to now, what you do, and then we'll get into your story a little bit for the audience.
Yeah, so right now I buy and build, so I have a 3-component. Mm-hmm. I realized my niche of real estate. Here's what I realized too, after 35 years doing this, everybody got their niche. You like Manny got his niche. Mm-hmm. A lot of investors, they try to do everything. Mm-hmm. I've done everything. Mm-hmm. But I realized to me, my niche is single family, multi-unit, and apartment buildings. Mm-hmm. And it's around housing. Mm-hmm. For the single family, I like buying what's hot and relevant. Mm-hmm. And what's hot and relevant right now in Seattle, and it's blazing across the United States right now, is houses. You can put ADUs in the backyard. Mm-hmm. That's the next hottest thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to keep up to date on what is hot. Mm-hmm. And I remember townhouses used to be hot. Yeah. Townhouse still hot, but ADU is hot now. Right. They got more permits with ADUs in Seattle than single family construction now. Mm-hmm. So I buy a single family home. Most stuff I buy is value add. Mm-hmm. They're very beat up. I rehab the house, and then I put an ADU in the backyard, and I keep them as rental property. Mm-hmm. Then I build townhouses. I buy raw dirt, and then I build multi-unit townhouses, and then I buy raw dirt, and I build apartments. But I don't do any kind of apartment. I do what I call micro apartments. Mm-hmm. Micro apartment is like studios. Mm-hmm. They're like 250, 300 square foot studios in super high density neighborhood, usually close into town, where it don't need no parking. Mm-hmm. And I do that because it's geared towards workforce housing. Mm-hmm. And there's a big sector of renter that are workforce housing that work in the city, but they don't make enough to rent the luxury apartments. Mm-hmm. So they have to drive to work, and then they got to drive back home. And so these micro apartments is for that niche. And those are my 3 niches I do today.
Gotcha. Yeah. And a lot of people know you because you talk a lot about cash flow and the mindset of it. Even you post the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, but you also show your kids, I believe, one has like a laundromat or vending machine business. That's encourage side hustles. Talk to me a little bit about stats-wise cash flow, if you're comfortable sharing, just so people have context about the cash flow that your portfolio and real estate generates.
Yeah. So, I'm 52 years old now. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this since 21. Mm-hmm. I bought my first rental house in 1997 when I was like 26, 27 years old. Mm-hmm. I still own the house today. Mm-hmm. Right? It's free and clear. So today I own probably close to 90, 100 single family houses. Mm-hmm. half of them right now, I'm putting ADUs in the backyard.
Yes.
And then I own probably 40, 50 single family townhouses.
Yeah.
And then probably 400 or 500 apartment buildings,
Wow.
units.
Yeah.
So it's probably over $100 million worth of real estate that I own. And the cash flow is a little over about a $100,000 a month. And my goal now is I'm 53, I'm going to turn 53 here soon. You know, I don't have much of a debt. I keep it life simple. I don't have a big overhead. But for me right now is I'm doing two things as I moving into my next 10 year of my life. Certain property, I'm going to 1031 and then leverage it to get better cash flow.
Right.
And a certain one, I'm just going to just pay them off. So my goal now is the next 10 years is to get over $250,000 a month in cash flow. If I continue to keep pacing what I'm doing, just the compound of appreciation.
Yeah. On top of the cash flow.
Yeah, top of cash flow, the compound appreciation, I will be probably at $1.6 billion with the real estate in the next probably 30 plus years.
That's amazing, bro. And it's crazy because you came from very humble beginnings, right, when you came to the U.S. So take us back. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? And how the heck did you go from being that young man with a dream to coming to the States struggling forward? Like, talk to us about that. Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like?
Yeah, and this is what's interesting, bro, is that if you would have asked me 20 years ago about being where I'm at today, I couldn't even write it big enough. That's why, you know, that little joke I always do, Vietnamese proverb, fuck how.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Don't worry about the how.
Don't worry about the how. The how will show up when you actually declare it, right? But I was born in Vietnam in 1970. In 1975, when I was 5 years old, my dad, at the time, he was a translator for the U.S. government. And it was the war during the Vietnam War. And so my dad was 31. My mom was like 28, 29. And I was 5. I had three older brothers. And then I had one younger brother. My mom was pregnant, my sister at the time, in 75. My dad went to work one day, and he got a phone call from his boss and said that the Vietnamese communists, they just got word that they actually going to invade South Vietnam now. They're coming in from the north, and they're taking over South Vietnam. That's why when you watch all those PBS shows, you see the tank coming into the embassy.
Right.
That was April of 1975 when they came in. So the U.S. troop was pulling out. And the boss says, you guys should come with us. Because anyone who is Vietnamese working for the U.S. government, they're going to pretty much put you in prison or you're going to be dead. And so my dad called home and told my mom, look, get what we can get. I'm going to come home, get you guys, and we're leaving. We're going to fly out
on the spot like
on the
that.
spot. So I want you to think about it.
How old were you at the time?
5.
Wow.
So my mom was 29. My dad was 31. Think about that. How old are you now, bro?
I just turned 31.
So imagine you call,
Yeah.
tell your wife, get the kids, 4 kids,
Yeah.
and we're leaving the United States. We're going somewhere like you've never even heard of.
Yeah.
U.S. And we're $100 and it's one suitcase.
Oh my God.
Think about that,
Wow,
right?
yeah.
What? We don't even speak English. How will? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so my dad came home, man. We picked him up and we headed to the airport to meet up with his boss. And we blew two tires on the Jeep. We missed the plane, bro.
No way.
Missed the plane. My dad found a hotel in Saigon, slept there overnight, and we got a hold of the boss that evening.
And do you remember, like when you were a kid, do you remember this all happening? Or you were
Bits
too
and
young?
bits.
Yeah.
I remember going in this
Fragments.
U-Haul truck the next morning
Yes.
because the boss said, meet us at this corner. We're going to have a truck. We're going to bring some of the people that work with the U.S. So we got in the truck early in the morning, into the Jeep, drove over to this corner. They opened up the U-Haul truck, basically. Everybody got in. It was pitch dark. I remember that. I remember we get inside the gate of the airport, and they open it up, and people was running around all over the place at the airport because everybody frantic trying to get on. But the only people that work for the U.S. military and their family.
Right.
And we went by my grandma's house, my uncle, my aunt, everybody's house. Nobody was home, bro.
Wow.
That's destiny.
Yeah.
This is one of the things we're going to talk more about towards later on today. Destiny. You know, when the door's open, you got to take it.
Yeah.
You know, my aunt, my uncle, it wasn't meant for them. The door didn't open for them. When I go back to Vietnam sometime now, I see my cousin and them, that could have been me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we left out of Vietnam in 75. We landed in Camp Pendleton, bro, right down the street from here.
Yeah.
And they used Camp Pendleton as the barrack to house all the Vietnamese refugees. We stayed there for about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And then Governor Evans came down, migrated the first 500 families to go up to Seattle. And we were the first 500 families to step foot in Washington.
Wow.
And so that's where we started our life, man, in Washington in 1975.
And so you were just an outcast as a kid, culture shock, totally
Bro.
different, like
Everything against you.
really.
Everything
Were you
against
bullied
you.
and all
Didn't
that?
even speak English.
Yeah.
Lived in a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got no money. Starting from the scratch, dude. So you know when I tell people, if I can do it, bro, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Now, at what point is it in your youth where you start thinking, I want to be a multimillionaire? You start thinking big. Was that from when you were a kid because you saw the deficit and your parents not having it? Or where was the premonition in you? Where did the hunger come from?
You know, it's interesting, man. This is the balance, man, right now.
And did you have siblings at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 4 brothers and a sister. I always tell people this, and this is what I try to, you ain't got no kids, huh?
Not yet.
I'm going to give you some tip.
Drop some game, bro.
I think the reason why I got where I'm at today, because of exposure and just hungry. The difference between me, my brother and sister, they didn't get the same exposure. So you don't get the exposure, the hunger just don't kick in as well, right? Because, so, a couple of things happened to me when I was younger. When I was younger, I lived in an area called Rainier Valley, which is like, you know, it's an area where a lot of minority, Hispanic, Black, Samoans, and most of the people in there that any bit got any money, they're selling dope. And for me, that's who I used to hang out with. Just a lot of my friends were just selling. That's how they made their money. They had nice cars, you know what I mean? And that's how I got into cars, right? And I had to work at Safeway to make money, but those guys out there slinging it, and it drove me. So that was exposure, right? That was exposure, but it wasn't the kind of exposure that would ever lead because a bunch of my friends passed away because they're in the game. Right. Some of them went to prison, you know what I mean, died in prison. Right. But it was exposure. But if you ask me if I had to rewind it, I wouldn't rewind it because that life experience gave me a lot of lessons, man, a lot of exposure. You know what I mean? I got a lot of heat when I was young, hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Right.
But it was lessons. So what happened was all those experiences gave me a little more exposure. And then what happened when I met Mike Ferry, right?
Real estate coach.
Real estate coach.
Yeah.
And
were you in real estate?
I was 21 years old. I didn't know anything about real estate. But my friend told me you should do real estate because you got a good mouthpiece. I was like, yeah.
Did you do sales or what made him tell you got a good mouthpiece? Like, what did you do from like...
When I was younger, bro, I used to hustle selling stereos, bro.
Selling stereos?
Stereo as in like people would steal Alpine deck out of a car and we would sell them to other people.
Yeah.
You know, just street hustle.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where exposure and all the street hustle, you know what I mean? I never really sell no dope or nothing.
Yeah.
It's just being around people that just, you know, if they can steal an amp, yo, bro, you want to buy an amp? I'll buy it. And then I turn around and sell it back to somebody else to make some money.
Right, yeah.
Who knew about wholesaling back then, selling amps? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's how I got my hustle. That's where I got my mouthpiece. It wasn't great, but that's where I learned.
And was it at that time where you start thinking big? Like, where's the premonition where you start thinking big? Was it one day when you saw a guy with the Ferrari? Was there an origin story?
Yeah.
What for you was the day it shifted?
Well, I remember some of my friend who was really slinging. They had a real nice car. That was some small seed planted. And when I got into real estate and I started getting coached by Mike Ferry, I saw Mike Ferry with a Bentley. And I was like, whoa. And then 1 or 2 years got into the business. I wasn't successful yet, but I remember selling this house to this guy named John Obina. Okay, he was half white, half Indian. The biggest house in Seattle, bro. Like straight up, just right.
Yeah.
He pulled up in an SL 500.
Mercedes.
Okay,
Yeah.
his girlfriend was half his age, worked at the Windermere office where I worked at, and so Jen and I was friends, and I helped her basically put the deal for John, and this house was like 8,000, bro. It was the biggest house I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was hella cool. It was Indian, you know what I mean? And white. And I was like, damn, John, what'd you do? And he was like, you know, doing business, you know, selling oil to Alaska. And he was the baller. And that right there, bro, was like, man, And that's when I realized I want to become a millionaire like John.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the Mike Ferry coaching, I had this drive to be more successful. And when I got exposed to a lot of people on the Mike Ferry panel who was making $400,000 or $500,000, $1 million when I was young, I was only 25, 27, 28 years old. That was the drive that started for me. And it was been driven since then. And that's the difference between exposure and no exposure to my brother and sister. And then there's exposure as, friend with selling dope, and there's exposure of people selling real estate. Thank for God, I went, I had both. And the point I was making about kids, that's why today I try to make sure, that's why a lot of people on social media, they don't get this when I say this to them. I already told my kid that when I pass away, they're gonna get a small portion of my worth. The rest of them, we're gonna create some kind of a charity. We're gonna make a difference in the world. I don't want to give all that to my kids because I want them to know that they gotta earn their own money. I'll give them some money, but I want them to go make their own money. I don't want to handicap them. I don't want to cripple them. I don't want them to know they got hundreds of million when they grow up. I don't want that. I want them to teach them from scratch how to be a young hustler and learn how to do it themselves, because if they knew they got money coming, they won't have the same drive.
Right, yeah.
And that's the point I make on social media. Every time I post one of those, it just go ballistic, because people are like, that's bullshit, man. Like, when we came to America, we could make it a life good so we can give our kids life good. No, hell no.
Yeah.
You want your kids to have the same hustle.
And what are some of the businesses your kids have? 'Cause I know
My
you've
kid
shared
right
it
now,
on social.
when they're young, Asian family, they get money for every event. So of course we teach them.
Yeah.
Save some, can't and spend some.
Yeah.
And so when they had enough money, they invested us in flips. And when they go out and do flip with us,
How old are your kids when they're investing in flips?
they're freshmen now, 15. The other one is 17, right?
Yeah.
But they invested with us like 5 years ago. They don't put all of it in. When the first one we did, they put in each like $8,000 each.
Yeah.
And then they get a return on their money.
Yeah.
But part of that, they got to go out to the house and they got to see the process, how it works. You know what I mean?
So you're teaching them at a baby level
That's right.
as it scales up, so by the time they're adults, they're well versed in it.
That's right.
It's not new and scary and
That's right.
intimidating or whatever, yeah.
And so then they in-flip with us, and then we built apartment buildings. And so the first set of apartment building, we needed 3 sets of wash and dry machine. And each set was like, I can't remember, it was like something like $4,000 a set. And we need 3 sets, and they put up the money to buy those themselves. That's why on social media, like,
Wow.
no, man, you gave that money to your kids. Shut up, fool. You don't even know, right?
Yeah.
But they put their own money up. They bought it,
Yeah.
and every other month they go out their uncle to the apartment building and collect the coins, and they drop it off a Bowen Credit Union. And if there's anything wrong with the machine, they got to pay with their own money to fix it.
Yeah.
But they learn how to do this, right? Now they just bought the second set of wash and dry machine in the apartment I just built recently. Same thing there. And this is how they grow their money. Yeah. But this is what I want to teach them how to do versus giving them the fish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, teach them how to fish instead of giving them
You
fish.
got it, bro.
Now, take me back to your early 20s. So you get into real estate, your friend tells you have a mouthpiece, you see John, you go, I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Were you good at real estate your first
No.
couple years? Did you suck? I mean,
Sucks.
I know years ago, I think it was like 7, 8 years ago, you did a mastermind with a group we were with.
Yeah.
And that's why it's such a trip now to even connect with you and see how far we've both grown. But I remember you saying, like, at one point you sucked so bad on the doors.
Yeah, seriously.
And you told yourself, like, I want to get 100 no's a day or 100 doors a day.
Yeah.
Or can you talk to the audience a little bit about, like, when you first started and how you sucked but
Yeah.
kept going to get good?
Yep.
Because I think there's a lot of people listening or watching right now that at whatever age they're at, in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
Right.
60s, men, women, every profession all over, who might be trying to do something, but maybe they're not naturals, or they
Yeah.
suck at it, or they're contemplating quitting. So take us back to that, and maybe speak to that.
Yep.
It's like, how were you your first couple years, and when was the shift when you went all in and got good?
So when I met Mike Ferry, I got into real estate in 1991. I was 21 years old.
Okay.
I didn't do nothing in the first 3 years, maybe 2-3 houses a year. Because I didn't know. I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have tactic. I didn't have script. I didn't even have an end game to it.
Yeah.
When I met Mike Ferry in 1994, I was 24 years old. So I had the system on, I got to go get listings. But in order to get a listing, I got to go and prospect the seller, who is random people I don't even know,
Right.
and read the script and ask them, would they hire me to sell their house? I was like, all right, well, that don't sound too bad,
Yeah.
right? I go memorize the script, right? And I go, cool. First day, bro. I still got it clearly. My wife, Cammie, dropped me off.
Yeah.
Because I told her, drop me off. I got a 100 flyer I made.
Yeah.
I got the script in my brain. I got my pen, my paper, 100 flyer.
To knock doors.
To knock on doors. Told my wife, drop me off. I call you, come back and get me when I'm done. And I promise, I told my wife, I promise I will not throw him in the garbage can. I'm going to do it for real.
Yeah, I'm going to sell a house today.
And I ain't going to go back to my car because there ain't no car there. I just cut off all the bridge.
Yeah.
My first door, bro, I remember. The dude came out. As soon as the guy opened the door, I froze up. You know what I mean? Bam, shut the door.
Yeah.
All right, go on to the next house. I practice the script. Don't go out smooth again. Bro, the first year, I was getting rejected every day. People were saying to me, go learn how to speak English. Don't knock on my door. I didn't ask you to come to my house. If I ever need your service, I call you. I'm going to report you to your company, right?
Yeah.
You too young,
Yeah.
right? Or I would never hire you because you don't look like you even own your own house. For real, though. I was
Yeah.
24 years old. Never owned a house.
Yeah.
People were telling me everything, dude. And it was discouraging, man. But the one thing is I had a coach, right? And she says, keep going. My favorite coach, Gio was her name.
Gio, yeah.
Keep going. Man, I tell you, bro, it was hard. It was raining outside. I got 100 flyers. It took me like 5 hours, bro, to knock on 100 doors, to knock on past these flyers.
Yeah.
And imagine 80% of them will tell you no.
Yeah.
My first year, I think I got like 4 deals.
Yeah.
It wasn't even enough to get over the rejection.
And you knocked thousands of doors.
Bro, I knocked on 100 doors a day,
Yeah.
5 days a week for 10 years straight. So the second year,
Yeah.
I got better. But what kept me going, the third year I got better. Second year I did like 10 deal.
Did you ever
Third
think
year.
about quitting?
Hell yeah, all the time.
What kept you from doing it?
Number one, I'm not a quitter. I knew once I'm doing this, I ain't quitting. That's just always been me. Just like social media when I started. Social media is hard as hell, bro. People don't realize. You already know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I told myself I ain't quitting. That's number one. I ain't got no other job. I'm gonna make this shit work. That's number two. Number three, my mom and dad, I gotta help retire them, bro. My mom worked at a factory. My dad was a social worker, and I gotta make money to help my mom retire because she's getting old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can relate to what I'm saying.
Of course, yeah.
Those three things, bro, kept in my little conscious mind, like almost like a vision board.
Yeah.
Every time somebody tell me to fuck off, man, I have to just scrape myself off the cement, bro, and just kept going. I did it every day. And what's interesting is, next time, you just know how to answer it better. My coach says, next time, respond like this. Okay. I do it, and I respond like that, and I get a better result. But people got to realize, you just got to keep moving forward. And you just got to just commit to just getting better. Even if just one answer better is better. And I just did that every day. It's not till probably my third year, bro, when I just knew I'm going to make it now. 3 years. I did social media now. It's been 2.5 years. Now I know I'm about to kill this game. You know, I was just thinking about that coming down here. Been 2.5 years I've done this. When I first started, I was just doing it for fun. But then I started to see some results after a year, and I started seeing what other people were doing. I was like, man, Loren, we got this, bro. And I told myself, after that, we're going to take this shit serious. So for me, with real estate, after my third year door knocking, there was no more turning back. And I knew I was going to become a millionaire because there's no more no's that could really stop me anymore. That's what happened.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Omar here. Listen, we're going to get right back to the video in a sec. But I just wanted to let you know that if you're enjoying this video, and I really hope that you're enjoying this video, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I really want to get some coaching. I really want to get some consulting to take my life, my business, my brand to the next level. Whatever it is, you're in luck. Because you can check out the link in the description below and also an application down there where we can learn more about you and see how we can help you, support you, and take your life or business to the next level. And don't forget that if you know you want to hop on a call with us and work with us, you can actually book a call with our team in the description down below as well. Now let's get back to the video. And then, so what happens? You keep doing it. How does your income increase? Like, walk us through that process.
So the first year of Mike Ferry, 3-4 deals.
And real quick, before we get into it, how much money were you making when you invested in a coach?
Yes.
And were you scared to invest in a
Hell
coach?
yeah.
Because a lot of people watching this might be thinking like, oh, I need to get coaching, but they're scared.
Yes.
And I don't know, and it's all I got, or, you know.
Yeah.
So what made you pull the trigger on it, and how much money did you have in your bank account, if you remember even?
Yeah.
Like, just so you could take us back to that
Yep.
moment when you made the decision to invest
Yep.
in yourself.
I was working at Safeway.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Supermarket.
A
Yeah.
supermarket, bro. Safeway. Okay, I just graduated from college. I didn't want to go to fixed aviation airplane in 91.
Yeah.
So I got into real estate, right? And for the first 3 years, I didn't meet Mike Ferry yet. I was working at Safeway, making about 30 grand a year, okay? And when I met Mike Ferry, I was probably making maybe 35, 40 grand a year at Safeway.
Were you bagging groceries or what?
Checker,
Checker, yeah.
right? And I worked in a little side hustle at a body shop on the weekend just to make some money, right?
Yeah, yeah. Selling stolen stereo parts.
So yeah, that too, right? And Mike Ferry at that time was charging $250 or $500 a month. My car payment, bro, was like less than $100. So you're talking about $250, $500 for coaching?
Yeah, yeah. This
I was living at home too. I had no debt.
Yeah.
I didn't have no savings. I was making money, spending all my money when I was younger.
Yeah.
So $500, bro, that's like today, somebody charging 10, 20 grand a month.
Yeah.
That's how much it was back then,
Yeah.
in equivalent. But I knew I wanted, because well, my friend says, you have a good mouthpiece. Real estate, you make 100 grand, you get paid 7%. Well, I didn't realize 7%, you don't get all of it. That 7 grand was a lot of money, but you got to divide it 4 ways as a
Split
real
it,
estate.
broker.
Right, all
yeah,
that.
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
But I got excited when I heard that. And I got excited. I knew inside me, I do have a mouthpiece. That's one thing I knew. And I know everybody knows what your God-gift talent is. Everybody know it. It's inside you, right? You just, when you know it, you get inspired. And so that's what I did, man. So when I first started, I did it. I paid it. I was scared. I just knew if I'm going to do it, I got to work Safeway and just keep making enough money to pay for this coaching until I get good at it. My first year when I got coaching, I didn't do well, but I knew I got a couple deals from it. You know what I mean? And I was only making, see, at that time I was selling real estate. It was only like $89,000 for a house, bro, in Seattle. It was nothing. You know what I mean? And 3%, you're making $2 grand, $3 grand max a house.
Yeah.
Not 7.
Before splits and taxes.
Exactly,
and all
right?
That. Yeah, yeah.
Then my second year, I think I did like 10 houses. I see some results. My third year, I did 30. And my fourth year, I did 40, and then 50, and then 60. And then, you know, by the time I got to like 90, 98, somewhere around there, 99, I was making close to almost $1 million gross commission.
Wow.
Selling real estate, one by one.
Yeah.
But I was on a, just like social media today, I was on a vengeance, bro. Just like 100 contacts a day, every day, 100 contacts every day. I would not stop. Rain, the sun, the snow, I'll be out in the street. I'm making phone call.
Yeah.
If I didn't get my 100, I'll go back in the evening. I'll call in the evening. And I just did that every day because I told myself I'm going to do it every day. And
so what was it? 100 cold calls, 100 door knocks, 100 messages? Or
it was 100 total a day.
100
Either combination of door or phone.
Okay, just 100 touches a day.
100 touches a day.
5 days a week.
5 days a week.
No matter what.
No matter what. Did it every day, no matter what, for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
You know? Now, I wouldn't recommend people doing that today because it wasn't efficient. I did it for the contacts.
Right.
But what I got from that was I built a strong mindset.
Right.
I built resilience. I built, heart.
Yeah.
I built thick skin. I built determination. I built, you know what I mean? Anything is possible.
So then you start making money.
Yep.
You get to the point where, you're 30 years old at this time, early 30s.
Yep.
And, are you still thinking about investing? Are you blowing money? Did you get comfortable?
Yeah.
Like, walk me through what happens before you go from being a high-grossing real estate agent to then thinking, maybe I need to become an investor.
That's right.
Like, take me through that moment.
In 1995, I was working at Windermere, and then this gentleman named Saul, he owned a John L. Scott office, which is two big brand in Seattle.
What is it?
John L. Scott Real Estate.
Okay.
Right? They're
How
two of
old
the
are
biggest.
How old are you at this time?
I'm 27.
Okay.
26, somewhere in there. Saul says, man, I like your hustle out there. I like to recruit you to come work in my office. If you come work in my office, I teach you how to make your money work for you when you're asleep. You just come over here, do your thing. Just do your thing. And if any agent wanted to ask what you do, would you mind sharing that? That's all I ask. No problem, so. But in the meanwhile, I teach you how to take your money you're making, and I teach you how to invest it to make your money work for you when you're sleeping, like the tree outside. That's what the exact word he said. And my wife was like, what? Right, we go meet him. And Saul says, you can be rich selling real estate because you trade your time for money, but you never be wealthy because wealthy is when you trade your money back for time, which everybody wants. But you got to own real estate. You got to own assets to do that. So one day when you get older, you can be out like your kids' matches or vacation, and you're still getting paid. And only owning assets, you can do that. But you got to work, trade your time in the beginning for money. But what you do with the money will give you freedom tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah.
I teach you how to do that. Man, I signed a contract. I went over there with him in a heartbeat. So in 1997, I bought my first rental house.
Wow.
I was living in my mom and dad's house, and I said I was going to buy to live in it. Or if you never bought a house, you can put down 5%.
Right.
It was $105,000. I door knocked it. I got it from door knocking. And the owner said they wanted $110,000. I said, I'll give you 105, no commission. They're like, done deal. I bought it with 5% down, bro. That's what's that, $6,000?
Yeah.
Rented it out from day one. As soon as I closed on it, painted it up, turned it into a rental.
How much did you rent it for? Do you remember?
Back then, it was like probably $1,000, $1,200.
Yeah.
Today, it's like $3,300.
Yeah.
3 times. That house I bought for $105 is worth $750 today. Wow. And I'm putting a ADU in the backyard right now.
Yeah.
So that property there will make me over $1 million off of $6,000, and I still own it today and own it free and clear.
Wow. And you said you were 27 when you started investing.
That's it. That's my first house I bought. And from there, I made a commitment again. Every year, I'm going to buy 1 or 2 houses. Every time I make a commission, I'm going to save it. I'm going to get enough money for down payment.
Buy assets.
On buy asset. And that was my binge also. Once I get locked into something, bro, I just don't never turn around. And so I locked in. I bought real estate. So I made a commitment. I'm going to go make all the trading my time for money. And as soon as I get enough money for down payment, I'm buying me a rental. And I did that. I was buying like 2 houses a year. 2 houses a year, 2 houses a year. And then from there, it's about 3 houses a year, 4 houses a year. And I just kept buying. And then today, I'm still buying today. But today, I have a lot of different things I do to bring more money in.
Right.
I take all this money, I'm just buying and building bigger stuff. But that's been my mindset since 1997. Right? And that's why I tell all these people out there, especially young people, you got to go out there and make money. Don't listen to all these social media people, all these gurus tell you you can buy real estate with no money. No, you need money and you need credit. Period. Okay? So I was out there making money, got good credit. I took this money, I just bought one house after another, and I just grew my portfolio, bro. I got no investor from scratch.
From the
None.
beginning.
No syndication, no nothing.
Can you talk a little bit about the importance of building credit? Because I think it's like a big topic nowadays, especially with the market and situation we're in. What's your best piece of advice to people on how to build their credit? How important is credit? I know when we were talking with Manny Kochman, he said he'd rather have no money and great credit than low credit and a bunch of cash. So
100%.
Can you like zoom in on the power of credit and managing cash? Just mindset for people out there who are thinking about long-term wealth.
I truly agree with Manny. There's a lot of gurus out there that teach, don't worry about credit. You can get seller's financing. There's only so many deals you can get from seller financing. And most of the time, it's not the greatest deal.
Yeah, the quality of the deals are,
For me, quality of the deal is first, followed by special financing, like seller financing. When you got credit, you can go to the bank and you can leverage a lot of things. You can't leverage seller financing to the highest degree. Some people will argue with that. But go talk to Manny, he'll tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? So you got to get credit. You got to open up account, credit card, right? You got to buy something. You got to make commitment. Don't buy something that you can't pay off the whole credit card at the end of the month. You got to practice that, right? You got to open up a certain account. You got to pay it. You got to build that credit. When you build credit, right now, everybody right now with no credit, if they can't get seller financing, they're paying crazy amount of money right now for construction loan and takeout loans. Because, hard money lending and DSCR loans are high.
Yeah.
I get traditional lending. You know, I can go to my bank, bro, and I say, look, I need some money for the construction. And they go, okay, cool. You got income, you got liquidity, you got net worth, and you got good credit. And they say to me, you don't have to put no money up. Let me just use your free and clear property you have over here as collateral. If I use that property as collateral, I'll give you whatever construction you need. So I'll give them a free and clear $1 million house. And then now I just got a big giant line of credit from that bank. Boom. You can't do that, bro.
Yeah.
When you got no credit.
Did you ever run into issues with credit early on in your career where you learned like, oh shit, don't want to do that again? Or were you always pretty like on it?
Man, when Saul taught me, get your money right, get your credit right, get your reputation right. One of the things Saul taught me today, bro, I think it sinks to me. He said, reputation. He said, your reputation like your third child.
I
Right?
like that. Reputation is like your third child.
Yeah, I got 2 child right now, right?
Yeah.
Russ and Hudson. My reputation is my third child. So whatever you do, don't fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Took you 35 years to climb the ladders. One bad move, your reputation, you slide all back down to the bottom of the ladder again.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful who you do business with, who you do interview with, who you get in partnership with, right? All that, because it can mess up your reputation.
100%.
Yeah.
And then talk to me a little bit about, too, I know you're big on like personal development,
Yes.
mindset, law of attraction,
Yes.
manifestation. And in the industry, there's a lot of people who take it to the extreme, like foo-foo land.
Yes, foo-foo.
But there's also like bridging it with reality.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's powerful about your work, and I know a long time ago, I got your book, The Gift, and I went to one of your events.
Right.
Not too, God, man, it was like 5 years ago or so. But can you talk a little bit about the power of manifestation, law of attraction? How I know you would have incantations and
Yep.
affirmations.
Yep.
Just because I know that was a part of your 100 doors a day.
Yep.
And you found a way to, like, in your mind, trick yourself or play the game of like, hey, I think you said I want to get 100 no's a day initially, or 100
Right.
contacts a day. So can you just talk to the audience about how those philosophies have helped you turn your dreams into reality?
When I was younger, I was blessed. I got exposed to Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer,
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deepak Chopra, Abraham Hicks, Dr. Gray, a lot of these people that you see that came out of The Secret. We knew them before they even came out of The Secret.
Right.
Because Matthew Ferry and I, we're doing a bunch of seminars together, right? And when I got exposed to this whole world called energy, one thing to make money. But if you don't have what I call a balance of personal life, fitness life, spiritual life, mental life, social life, family life, to me, you're really not really, in my mind, successful. Because I don't know about you, but I see a lot of successful people on this journey. They got money. And a lot of them, they don't even have a good family life.
Yeah.
They got a bad fitness life.
Or have no family.
Or got no family.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of making all this money? Like you spent all these years when you were a kid,
Yeah.
hustling, got out of college, built this company to go make all this money. So you sacrifice this all the year you grew up making all this money, and then all of a sudden you get cancer, or you get a divorce, or your kid don't want to spend time with you. And then you're sick and ill, and you don't get to spend the money you made all these years.
Yeah.
So to me,
Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Yeah.
totally, bro. I'm 100%. That's why I'm a big believer that you got to have balance. I'm not saying balance, everything is balanced. You got to grow everything. So for me, what I realized coming up is on top of making money, I got to learn personal growth. And when I met Dr. Wayne Dyer and Abraham Hicks, they exposed me to the law of attraction. And some people call it woo-woo, but I'm going to keep it simple like this. Nobody thinks gravity's woo-woo. Walk off that balcony and see what happened.
Right.
Instantly, you'll fall.
Right.
Keep saying, right? Keep doing affirmation that's disempowering and watch what happens in your life. It's law of attraction. So law of attraction says whatever you put your energy, focus, and attention on, it expands. If you take a look at most human beings, unconsciously, they're doing affirmation on all the things that's not working in their life.
Right. Oh man, I'm stressed. Oh shit, this. Oh fuck that. Oh
Right.
man,
I don't got enough money. How am I going to pay the bill?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And they'll wonder why they keep getting what they're getting.
Right.
They don't realize they're actually creating it themselves. No different than someone who actually understands it, and you got empowering affirmation, and things show up like you. Look at 5 years ago, bro. Look where you was at.
Yeah.
Who would have thought out of all the people you're interviewing, are the biggest people named, you know what I mean, right now in the game, right?
Yeah. I actually used to write it down in my journal. That's why even to today, you know, I got stuff blessed beyond measure,
Yeah.
focus on the good. Like in our office, it's just always a big part.
Yeah, you
even
got it
I
all
love
around your
shirt
crib,
mindset.
bro.
Yeah. So I just want to drown my mind.
That's
in it.
right.
Even if it's delusional.
Yeah.
I'd rather delusional optimism than realistic pessimism.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
So law of attraction to me, it's working in the background like gravity, even in your ignorance of it. Even you don't believe it, it's working. So if it's there, just like gravity, are you going to go against it or are you going to work with it? I choose to work with it. And so in my personal life, just like I teach my kid about, you know, in baseball, I don't play baseball, but I can teach him about mindset. When you're at the plate, what you want to say?
I got this. I got this.
You
or
got
I'm gonna hit
it. My kids
good.
always say, I'm about to hit a dinger.
Yeah.
That's what I have the whole team, bro. I help coach the team.
Yeah.
I have
Even
all
though
the
you've
kids.
never played the sport.
Never played sport. I understand the sport.
Yeah.
Right? I had Russell's team and even the coaches loving me.
Yeah.
I used to have the kid in the dugout. Right? Riled up. Every time they had bat, they would say, I'm going to hit a dinger. I'm going to hit a dinger. And they loved it, bro. And so I'm a big believer in that. So if you're building a company, right? Speak into existence. Speak it until you see it manifest. Versus speaking it in existence where
Negative.
it won't work.
Yeah, or doubt or worry or
That's
anxiety.
speaking to existence also.
Yeah.
You see? So I'm a big believer that part of making money, if you don't realize, a small percentage is physical action to make it happen. The bulk of it is you speaking into existence and you lined up the opportunity where you took action to fulfill it. You spoke into existence. You want to meet all the influencer who you want to interview. Who is this? Say all of a sudden you met your trainer that knew the assistant of John Paul.
Yeah.
And kabam, y'all. Then you took the action and called him and made the appointment.
Exactly.
But people think it's the action that got the appointment. No, it was the thinking and the speaking into existence that got to the connection
Yeah.
to take the
That
action.
attracted the opportunity.
You got it, bro.
It's almost like you need to do half and the universe will do the other
You
half.
got it.
But you got to do your part first.
And the first part is writing it down, speak into existence.
Yeah. I heard one thing too about that. It's powerful. It says that, you know, depending on people's belief in God, that even God, the creator of the universe, wrote things down. Things were written in biblical text
Right.
or the Quran or the Torah or whatever people choose to believe. No building on this planet was built in reality before it was on paper.
That's right.
No car, no nothing was built. So who are we to think we're going to have our dreams happen, not writing them
That's
down
right.
first?
Try
you
to tell somebody to build a commercial building without a plan.
Yeah.
Same thing. See what I mean? So that's why people don't realize. If you want success, folks, figure what it is you want, write it down, then speak it into existence and watch the resources, the people, the energy, you know what I mean? The opportunity, it all lines up and you could never write a business plan even close to that.
And what were some of the rituals you had back in the day when you were struggling before you quote unquote made it or
Yeah.
made your first million? Because it's one thing to, you know, people will watch this and be like, oh, easy for you to say, Thach, you got a Rolls Royce, you got a Ferrari, you got $100 million worth of real estate,
Right.
you're cash flowing 6 figures a month. Like, easy to be positive.
Right.
But what about somebody watching this right now who's like, you know, overdraft on their credit cards,
Yep.
on their third business failure, had a success, got
Yep.
complacent, up, down. You know, what's your advice to people like that if you could maybe go back to,
Yep.
you know, maybe a time in your life where you were in a really tough place? I don't know if you've been there where, you know, it's tough to make ends meet. Maybe creditors were calling
Yep.
you. You've just been in a tough spot. You know, what were some of your rituals then to stay
Yep.
positive, and what advice do you have for people
That's
going
a
through
good
it?
question. Look, it's never going to go away. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
As you go up this journey, you're going to keep encountering what I call breakdown.
New levels, new devils.
You got it. So, when I was young, had no money, it wasn't as bad because the issue wasn't that bad, right? So, the first thing I would tell people is you got to ask yourself, if life is perfect, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What do you want to have? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to dream? And just write. I tell everybody to write at least a 5-year letter.
I remember in your book or at your event, you talked about that. If life was perfect, what would happen
Yeah.
next? Yep.
Yeah. Just write it. People don't allow themselves to write.
They don't give themselves permission.
They don't
to
give permission.
even imagine it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So how's
Write
your
it.
subconscious going to
Just
work
write
on
it.
creating it? Yeah.
Once you write it, then what I did, I used to read it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times. And then I have affirmation that was written consistent to the goals. Right? And I read it. So I'll give you a real good example. I don't say this story too often. I'm going to tell you this story. And some people who know me closely know this story. It was in 2000 and 2005. I get a phone call from the front desk of my real estate office. And they said, Thach, you got some visitors up in front. Can you come to the front? I walk up to the front desk, and it was a white guy and a white lady in a suit. And I'm like, okay, let's go into the office. What can I do for you guys? They're like, my name is blah, blah, blah. I work for FBI. And this is blah, blah. I work for IRS.
Oh, shit.
I'm here because we want to indict you for money laundering.
Oh, my God.
You sold a house to this client who we just picked up coming from California with like 20, 30 kilos of cocaine. And we found out you sold him the house. And we believe that you knew he's a drug dealer and you sold him the house. And in the federal court system, you cleaned his money for him by selling him a house. And that is conspiracy. And conspiracy get 20 years in the penitentiary. And we're here to tell you we're coming after you. And we're going to indict you. We're going to put you in prison just like all his people that he was among with. So, you got bad debt? That ain't shit. Okay? So, anything is possible when you really believe in the writing it down, reading it. So, I called my good friend, the manager at the office, Albie, and I asked him, bro, it's embarrassing to tell you this, man. I only been in your office for like 2 years, and I'm in trouble. He said, let me introduce you to one of my good friends. He's a big dog attorney.
Yeah.
I go see him. I walk up the elevator, bro. It's the top elevator. It opened up into this ginormous law firm in Seattle, looking out towards downtown Seattle. He come out, and I'm thinking, man, Jesus Christ, what the hell?
How old are you at the time?
This is like in 2005. I'm 52 now. What's that? 2023, 2005. That's what? 27, 30 some years old.
Yeah.
The guy come out and I told him the whole story. I sold this house to the guy, man. I had no idea the guy's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And the guy says, you're going to need representation. And at that time, Cammie was not my wife yet. She going to need her own representation because you're gonna be going to court fighting against the feds on fighting to prove you're not part of a conspiracy. They're going to come after you, Cammie first before they come after you, just so you know.
Why is that?
Because they want to go after the spouse or the girlfriend to have them snitch on you. That's how they always do it.
So they go indirect. Yeah.
Indirect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you that's what they're going to do, the feds.
And you just walk into work one day and all of a
All
sudden
this happened,
just
bro.
like
My
that,
light,
like, oh,
the shade literally just went black on me.
shit.
Seriously, bro.
Yeah.
The guy said 15 grand, non-refundable, but to work with me, and we got to get her own attorney. We'll get somebody in the office, $15,000 for her,
So 30 grand.
non-refundable.
Did you have the money at the
I
time?
had the money, thank God. This is why I always tell people, work, save some money, damn it. You don't know when the rainy day is going to come.
Yeah.
So the guy came, the attorney come, the attorney called the feds and said, listen, from now on you coming through me. Don't talk to my client no more.
Yeah.
Bro, we sat down and the attorney says, we're going to have a battle because the feds, they don't give up.
Yeah.
Worst case might happen to you. Worst case, 5 years. Even if you didn't do nothing. What? And he says, you've been selling 80 homes a year. We got to prove to them that all your money you made is from you out there door knocking, not selling homes to drug dealer. What's going to happen, they're going to come after Cammie, and they're going to take her to the grand jury. And in the meanwhile, you can't be there. What you got to do for me is you got to go out there and keep working like you did before to prove the money you're making, real legit working on the street, door knocking. So you got to have to keep working like nothing's going on.
Fine. Yeah, yeah.
You know how hard it is? everything I made, they went to my bank account. My bank account was frozen. I couldn't use my own money. Whenever time,
The federal government froze your bank account?
because they make sure they want to track the money if it's legit. So
Shit.
the money go there. But if I get indicted, I go to trial, I can't use my own money. So here I am. Why am I going to go door knock every day to go make all this money?
Yeah.
And my money is frozen. I can't even use it. And I can't tell nobody in my family what I'm going through because we have to keep it all a secret,
Yeah.
Cammy and I. But the attorney said, you got to prove to them you're legit. So you know what? We gave him $15,000. I locked in my mindset, bro. And I gave him that $15,000 for each. And I said, okay, I'm going to go door knocking. You do what you got to do.
Is Cammy scared at this time?
Oh, we're both scared. Her, worst case, 5 years. Me, 5 years, worst case.
And she's not even your wife yet?
No.
Oh, man.
Okay?
Yeah.
I remember, we'll get going. I don't know, maybe after a month or so.
Uh-huh.
First thing was, I wrote down, what do I want my end goal to look like when I'm done with all this?
Yep.
I wrote down,
Start at the end, yeah.
I'm hanging at the beach with Cammy, my mom, my dad, my family,
Yeah.
and I'm paying for the trip.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in Maui, I'm drinking, you know what I mean, margaritas. I wrote down, bro, like the whole vision, like shit already happened already. Mm-hmm. Then I follow up with affirmation. I door knock every day, and I'm killing it. I'm getting deals. I'm getting, listing. I'm selling house every day like a beast. You know what I mean? I wrote down all the affirmation. I'm powerful. Everything I think about come true. And then I wrote down a whole list of affirmation for my attorney, right? And I wrote it like this. Like the attorney's going to read it. I am a great attorney. I am the top attorney in Seattle. I'm going to help Thach, be innocent, right? And, and he's going to be free. And I wrote down like a whole list of affirmation for him. And I told him, here's your affirmation. You got to read it every day because here's my affirmation. I wrote for myself. I wrote down my own affirmation. I wrote his affirmation. And I said, listen, Bill, that's the name, Bill.
Yeah.
I pay you $15,000.
Yeah.
I need you and me to be on the same wavelengths.
Yeah.
You got to read these affirmation, and you got to believe it that you're a great attorney, you're a top attorney, and you're gonna get me off this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read mine.
And how did he react to that?
He was like, "What?" And he's like, "Bro, you got to do this for me."
Yeah.
Okay. We did it every day. Cambridge attorney had their own affirmation. We had everybody do an affirmation.
And they thought you were crazy.
I mean, I was crazy.
Yeah.
Listen. 2 years go by. She been going to Grand Jury every
Back
month.
and forth. Oh,
2
man.
years. For 2 years, I had to keep believing the vision. Mm-hmm. The family going to Hawaii. I'm killing the real estate game still. My attorney's going to give me off. I have to just believe, bro. Like, it's going to happen. 2 years. You know how long 2 years going through this? Mm-hmm. 2 years. July 4th. 2 years later, the attorney says, I don't know what's happening. I haven't heard from the feds. I just want to prepare you. I haven't heard from them for a couple weeks. They might be trying to basically come at us and maybe try to trial you. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I just want you to know something's going on. Mm-hmm. So me and Cammy took off to Vancouver, BC to be ready. Mm-hmm. The other thing I do is this. When you're ever in a bad spot, sometime you just got to look the bad spot in the eye and you got to ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario if this happened? And can we make peace with it? And can we accept it? And me and Cammy went up to Vancouver and we sat down and I looked her in the eye and we both looked at each other. We've been doing affirmation and I said to her, the worst case scenario, because she already been free now. They already tried her and they already told her, we done with you. You got nothing for us. They're going after me now. Mm-hmm. And the worst case is, Cammy's done. I do 5 years in prison. That's the worst case. That's what I told myself. And I said, if the worst case scenario, if I go do 5 years, here's the plan. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give power of attorney to you so you can manage the real estate. You take care of it. And then I go serve my time. If you don't want to wait till I get out, you get the right to leave. But if this is the worst case scenario, I'm going to make peace with it right now. We had a long talk. We both made peace with it. We say, fine. If that's the worst case, we make peace with it. So when you're in a tough bind, hardest thing, you got to make peace. What is the worst case? And you got to ask yourself, if that's the worst case, can you live with it and can you accept it? And I accepted it. I accepted out. If I have to go in and do 5 years and can we leave, so be it. That way, you don't keep fighting your own fear anymore. You don't keep manifesting more fear and more worst case information, or more attracting more bad news. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I made that commitment, bro. I'm driving back from Canada, going back to Seattle. I remember the day I was driving back, and the cloud, bro, it just started parting. It was on Sunday. Monday, I'm waiting for my attorney in the Fed to call, because they told me they're going to call me on Monday.
And you're just living in anxiety this whole time.
That's right.
Yeah.
They didn't call on Monday. They didn't call on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. They didn't call. 3 weeks later, my attorney called me and said, I don't know what happened, but I still ain't heard them from the feds. This is rare this ever happened. So until I hear something, just keep living your life. When he told me that, bro, I knew, just like I told you earlier, I already won. I'm already a millionaire. I'm already successful. I'm already free. Let's go. And from that point forward, I knew I was a free man, because that was the universe giving my hint. That was it. Still today, I still haven't heard from my own attorney.
Wow.
Since all those years.
Wow, man, that's insane.
The guy never ever called and said, I don't know what happened. I was the only person. I think a year later he called me and he said, I never had a client that was this close on the front doorstep going to do time that walked away with zero time, let alone nobody. The Fed never answer. Never ever have he had the history that he said.
Yeah.
That's the power of law of attraction. That's the power of mindset. That's the power of writing down what your life will be like. If how you want your life to be like, write it down, speak it to existence, write your affirmation, speak it and live it like it's already done. Sometimes it might take you a week to see manifestation. Sometimes it might take you 2 years to see manifestation. But you keep living a life already done, it has to manifest.
Dude, that's incredible.
That's mindset, bro.
That's incredible, bro. Now, how about in terms of, switching gears to real estate before we wrap up here? And I appreciate you sharing that, man. That was incredible. Was there ever a point, maybe during the 2008 recession or other times later, where you had major heartaches in real estate?
Yes.
And how did you navigate that?
Got my biggest deal in 2006. 251 unit apartment building. One of our colleague friend through a seller that was selling plan and permit for a 251 unit apartment building in downtown Seattle. And I was eager to want to do something big. And so me and two other person who I knew, we partnered up to build this.
How much, if you don't mind me asking, what was your investment in that project?
We had to raise $8.5 million. And with credit, the bank will lend you, it was a $40 million construction. So we had to put up almost $9 million, and the bank will lend us the other balance.
Yeah.
If you got no credit, you ain't gonna be able to do that kind of stuff. See what I mean?
Right.
I put in $1 million of my own money, and the rest of it I raised from my friend. Majority of the investors were my friends. My other two partners have one or two of them. We raised it in like a month, from writing down the goals, doing affirmations, speaking into existence. Fastest I ever raised money. We built the building. We pre-sold the whole thing in the first 6 months. Now we're building it. It's supposed to be done at the end of 2008. Mid of 2008, all of a sudden the market turned. Wow. 251 200 of the buyer withdraw their offer before the building was done. They all got their earnest money back. We're left with 50 buyer contract, and we're 6 months away from closing on this deal. Lost 200 buyer sale.
Wow.
In literally like 2-3 months. Now we're about to finish the project, and we don't have enough sale to close.
Yeah.
Same thing. What's the worst case scenario? The bank take the property back. Can I accept going to my friend, tell him we lost all the money, including mine? It was hard. It's probably as hard as accept going to prison because it's your friend's money, not your money.
Yeah.
When it's your friend's money, it's even harder, I think. You know what I mean? I accept the worst case scenario. I role played in my brain what I'm going to say to them. I accept that they're going to befriend me, like unfriend me, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Calling me all kind of names, all that stuff. And I made peace with it because I was having mental struggle. When I made peace with that, I started writing down, what do I want at the end goal? The project be finished, we sell the building, or we kept the building, all that stuff. I wrote all this information. But until you accept worst case scenario, you can never write down a true goal and you really can believe it, right?
Best case scenario.
You got it? I wrote it down. I'm out of light, bro. And there was a sign that says for lease. And that same building was for sale months ago. And I saw the sign that said for lease. It was a little sign. And that was the signal that said turn the building to an apartment building versus selling it. We went back, told the bank, we're going to turn it into an apartment building. The bank's like, how long will it take you? Give me a 12 months to lease it. They said, fine, I'll give you an extension on your construction loan for 12 months. We leased the whole building up in 12 months. Then we had the bank crash followed by that. New bank came in, bought out the old bank, says, sorry, we're not going to give you permanent financing. Even though you get the building leased up, we want our money back. Everybody losing their money, we want our $40 million back. So you got 90 days to give my money or I'm taking your building from you because we're still in the construction loan.
Yeah.
Wrote down again, worst case scenario. What's the perfect end result? We sell the building. On the 90th day, we got 3 offers, and it sold and cleared the note. And all the investors got their money back, other than 25% haircut, everybody. All the investors were so happy that they got their money, because everybody was losing their project out there, right? We're the only few buildings that ever lost a project in those times.
Yeah.
They got 75% of the investment money back versus 100%. On the 90th day, we sold the building to equity residents. Anybody know real estate investing? Equity resident from Chicago bought the building. The building's called Moda. Look it up on Bell. Okay, 3rd and Bell Street in Seattle. We sold it. Boom.
That's wild.
Again, that's from Affirmations, from Mindset.
And I think it also speaks to the power of creative solution.
You got it, bro.
But
you can't come up with a solution when you're in fear.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in fear, or you worried about the worst case scenario.
Yeah, or dwelling on what's wrong.
You got it.
Yeah. So you literally went into what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? What if I did this? What if I did this?
That's
what
right.
If I did that? So zoom in. So the deal was originally supposed to be what? And then you pivoted it to
It was a condominium project.
condos for sale.
For sale. We
And
sold
you changed
all of it.
apartments for rent.
That's
So you
right.
switched the
We
model.
sold all 251 units, literally in pre-sold in the first 6 months.
And then they withdrew.
And I would have
200.
got like $5 million with equity, bro, my share. And then 6 months before end of 2008, 200 buyers withdraw their purchase and sale. Yeah. We had a 250 unit building with only 50 buyers, and we're about to be done here in 6 months. There wasn't enough sale to basically, you couldn't sell enough to actually do it in 6 months. Because everything in Seattle at that time was going down in sale. So who would have thought solution of rental? Nobody thought rental.
Yeah.
Other than this sign that said rental. But you couldn't see the sign if you're always in fear, doubt, and problems.
Dude, I love that. All right, now before we wrap up here, I want to ask you one quick question because I know a lot of people watching are probably interested, right? You have experience with 9 figures worth of real estate, cash flowing, 6 figures a month, 7 figures a year. And a lot of people nowadays, it's popular on social media to talk about real estate investing.
Yes.
What advice do you have for people about A, how to navigate making their first real estate investment?
Yes.
And B, given the current landscape in 2023, what are some things you're looking at and advice you give people to do and not do?
Right.
So first question is for people watching this who are maybe just thinking about getting started and they don't know, should I buy a primary residence? The Grant Cardones, the other people of the world say, hey, don't buy a primary residence. Better to rent where you live and then cash flow what you buy.
Right.
Some people say, hey, buy a fourplex, buy a residence. What's your advice for people, given your experience on how to navigate that decision framework?
If you're new to the real estate game, First thing I want to say is this. You want to get to a point where you want to own real estate, period. Okay? How we get there is a whole other thing. I just did an evaluation. I sent it to you when I'm done. That an athlete or someone who's a high earner makes $2 to $5 million a year who don't invest in real estate. Then you got regular Joe Doe who makes $500,000 a year, but he invests in real estate. He buy one every year. Fast forward 20 years from now, Joe Doe that make $500,000, he would have a net worth of something like over $10 million. And the high earner, if they don't invest, let's call it, $2 million a year. This is an evaluation I did. Half of it go to Uncle Sam. If he only got $1 million, he saved $250,000, 25%. His $250 in 20 years will only earn him $3-4 million in net worth, when the other guy who made less money has more. So the point of that whole evaluation is, you can make less money than the guy who's a high earner, but you invest. In 20 years now, you'll be way farther ahead than that guy.
Yeah.
So you got to own real estate, leverage the compound of interest. Okay. If you're new, if you're young, if you don't have money to invest in big commercial building, okay? If you don't have a lot of money to even invest in syndication, but you can easily buy a house with 5% down. If you buy a house, let's say in California, if you went and buy yourself a small house, it might cost you $700,000-800,000, depending where you live. 5% down, it's only $35,000. Ideally, if you want to buy that, you can house hack it, rent a room or two. You have a house where you have a garage, convert the garage into an ADU, rent out the ADU, house hack that. I got a student that bought a house in Long Beach, Jerry. He bought the house for $750,000, and he put down 6%. He put 6%. He put out about $50,000, $60,000, and he house hacked that. And he turned the garage into a ADU, and he lived in this Long Beach house for like less than $2,000 a month, right?
And how much was the mortgage on that?
It was like $4,000, but the cash flow from the rental, offset some of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the ADU will be like $2,000. So he's
The ADU was like $2,800.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good money. Now, or you can go buy yourself a duplex or a triplex, fourplex.
Fourplex, yeah.
Live in one. Put 5% down on that. Live in one. Rent the other 3 out. If you want something, and you write down what you want, you keep writing down, speaking to existence. Solution will come to you. Just don't speak. You can't do it. Okay?
Do you recommend, how do you recommend people to think about when they go? Because a lot of people have written in and say, okay, I have the cash to buy my first property, right, but should I buy a single family resident and rent it out, or primary residence, or should I get a fourplex, for example?
That's right.
So what advice would you give for someone who goes, well, what should I even base my decision on?
That's right. Look, if you're single, okay, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. If you're single and you don't have a problem living at home with your mom and dad, go buy yourself a single family or duplex, triplex, fourplex, depending on how much money you got. If you only got enough money to buy a single family and a duplex, buy a duplex, rent out the other side, right? Or buy it, rent both of them out, right? It all comes down to how much money you got. Your money would dictate what you can buy, right? Now, if you don't have the privilege to live at home, then again, depending on how much money you have, right? Buy a single family, rent out 1 or 2 bedroom to some friends. Yeah. Or buy a duplex, triplex, fourplex, and rent out the rest and live in one. But it all comes down to how much money you have, and are you single? Now, if you're married and you got a kid, depending on how much money you got, should I buy a fourplex or a single family? Probably better you buy a single family so you can get them, give them a home.
Stability, yeah.
Right? So you rent. If you don't have enough money to buy a house, you should buy a house to live in it, because you're building equity in the houses. They call it liability, but you're still building. It's still an investment because you're growing. It's not paying you to live there, but you get in the compound interest of appreciation.
Right. Exactly.
You get the write-off. The write-off sometimes is as good as cash flow.
Right.
Live in that. Then, hey, trade up and get a better house, turn that into a rental, or stay there and then save some money. Start buying rental then. So again, if you don't have a lot of money and you got a family, buy a house. If you got money, you can invest in syndication. But if you're not investing yourself, folks, you can actually make more money doing it your own versus doing it in syndication. Syndication only give you a small amount of return for your money. But if you're not investing yourself, you get the whole entire pie yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And I think what you're really saying is to just get in the game.
Get in the game.
And then compounded things will happen. You meet someone, you learn something, you
Yeah.
do the next thing. So your portfolio was initially single families?
Single
As you
family.
scaled up? Did you
That's
single family, duplex, triplex, fourplex?
Yep.
Apartments? Or
Yep.
what was your journey like?
It was single family, duplex, triplex.
Did you rent out your first one or live in it?
I rent out every house, bro, until I got to 15 houses and I bought my own house to live in.
So your first primary residence was after you got 15 rentals?
Yeah.
Where were you living? You just
My
rented?
mom.
Ah.
Lived with my mom and dad, 15 rental houses until I moved out.
Wow.
Like I said, it all depends. My Asian family, like, yo, you can live here till you're like 80 years old. We don't care.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, whatever. I stay there. You know what I mean? That's how we do it in the minority culture, right?
Yeah.
I know your mom probably tell you the same thing. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So it's long-term thinking versus short-term
That's
thinking
right.
very early on. And now you're living the compounded effect
Bro,
of that.
I ain't even tripping living with my mom and dad. I still go visit them all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same house.
What do they think about your success?
My dad passed away already, you know what I mean? But my mom, you know, she...
Do they trip out on the fact that you were once a young kid who came from Vietnam here and now you built this?
My aunt and my cousin Vietnamese,
Yeah.
they knew me when I left Vietnam, right?
So now they think you're like the famous relative.
I am,
yeah,
because they follow me on social media. They see how big I am on social media.
Yeah.
And then they see me with the roses and everything, right?
The
My mom,
Ferraris.
she just don't think nothing. She don't know. She has no idea what $1 million is or $100,000 is. She just know I take care of all her bills for her. I pay all her bills, all her medical bill, all her personal bills, house bill, property tax, any bill. I take care of everything for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to her, cars are the same, right? Point A to point B.
That's it, bro.
She probably don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Well, before we wrap up, Thach, I wanted to ask one last question, then we play a quick game. And that is for people around the world watching, men, women, at any age, in any profession, or trying to make their life work. And maybe they're stuck right now trying to figure it out. Maybe they're in a rough place. Maybe the younger version of you who was once stuck.
Yep.
What advice would you give to people watching this who are really trying to make their life work, who feel stuck, and are looking for that winning philosophy to get them to where they want to be?
Go find a place where you can sit down, that you can really connect with yourself. Me, I like going down by the water. And I like to sit there. That's where I get in touch with myself. And then give yourself permission. If life is perfect, where would you like to be at 5 years from now? Or 10 years from now? I write 10-year goals only. I have a whole bunch of 10-year goals.
Why 10 and not less?
Because I need to think far out. Because, goals go by fast. Sometimes you might not achieve it in 3 to 5 years.
And you might get discouraged, and
That's
it might
right.
not. But 10 gives you enough time
That's
to
right.
like fail along the
Now,
way.
that's not for
and
everybody.
succeed.
Newbies,
Yeah,
I tell them 1 year to 5 year max. Because they can't think that far.
yeah. Or
You
they
know?
don't have the confidence or the.
To
Yeah.
go that long, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So go somewhere that you can really connect with yourself. Give yourself permission to write down if life is perfect, where you want to be at 12 months from now, or even 5 years from now. Personal life and business life. More importantly, start with your personal life. Where do you want yourself to be at 5 years, 1 year from now, 10 years, 5 years from now on your personal life? Because you can write your personal life, the business life become easy. And then,
What do you mean by that? I love that. Because I heard this quote once. It said, people don't have business problems, they have personal problems that manifest in their
They do.
business. So I'm curious what you mean by that or how you see that.
if you and the wife got a problem, you ain't gonna make no money, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You and your kid got conflict, you ain't gonna be very clear-minded going out there making money. You have no inspiration. Take care of your home base. Take care of the wife. Take care of the kids. Take care of the spouse. Take care of your fitness. If you ain't got no fitness, you got no motivation, you got no energy to do anything. Get your mind right. You know what I mean? Get your life right. Get your personal life right. You know, anything that's out of order, anything out of integrity, get it into integrity. When you get that personal life rocking, you want to make money. You're inspired. And to me, if you can get your fitness life and your spouse life together, making money is easy, bro.
I love that. Powerful.
Okay? Write it down, folks. Okay?
I love that. All right. And then we wrap up every episode. We play a game called First Things First.
All right, first things first.
So the way the game works is I'm going to rifle off a quick word or phrase.
Yep.
And then you just tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind in relation, right? So
Let's
think
get
of
it.
it like a word relation game.
Yep.
The only rule is that you can't repeat yourself twice.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So you just tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind. Number one, money.
Freedom.
Mindset.
Clarity.
A quote that changed your life early on.
You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want.
The biggest limiting belief you had to overcome to get to where you are now.
I'm a refugee, and I'm stupid, and I'm not good enough.
The first check that changed your life.
It was a check that I got when I was picking strawberry back in the days on the field. First job. Seriously, that's even better than my check, $1 million check.
How old were you? Or
I was like in middle school. I used to go out, take the bus out in the field, and I used to pick strawberries by myself.
In Vietnam?
No, here in Seattle, bro.
In Seattle? Wow.
Yeah, I'd be out there for like 8 hours in the summer picking strawberries, and I'd be out there on my knees. You know how a strawberry field look like?
Yeah.
And I'd pick them, and the faster you can fill up all the trays.
Yeah.
There's 12 trays in a big tray, and they give you a, you know what I mean? And then when the more holes you got, the more money you make. And I got my first check. It was like, I can't remember what it was. Maybe like $100 or something.
Yeah.
I was, man, yeah,
That's
serious.
awesome. The best advice you give to people who are stuck.
Accept the worst case scenario. It'll free your mind, free your energy, so you can move forward.
The biggest misconception about what it takes to be a multimillionaire.
That it takes a lot of physical action. It's more mental action. It's more mental work than physical work.
What you would say to the young Thach who was looking for answers back when he was stuck, trying to provide for his parents. Being on this side of the fence,
Yep.
what you would say to that younger Thach who was looking for answers.
Stay hungry and be coachable.
And last but not least, when the Thach Win legacy is gone and you're nothing but, dead, gone, and a pile of dust, what do you hope that the Thach Win legacy was all about for people, your family, your audience, your kids? What do you want your life to be about?
Dream big, man. Anything is possible.
I love that. Thank you so much, Thach. Appreciate you. As always, guys, thanks for watching this episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Thach Win. We'll put all of his links in the description down below. If you guys want to learn more about his programs, you can also check that out on the link below. Until next time, live strong, live inspired, and get that mindset right. We'll see you guys on the next episode.